friends who make $47,000 a year and are the happiest people I know. Their work-life balance is on point. They're part of 2 soccer teams. They play video games. They watch every show they want. They take 2 vacations that they scrap together, and they're freaking happy as hell. And I know tons of people who have hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account and are as miserable and as lonely and as broken as you'll ever see. 7 billion people need to change the conversation of what success looks like. It is not to make $1 billion. It is to actually wake up in the morning and be in a good mood.
Yeah, you sound like a dude trying to sort yourself out. How old are you, 25? 20, oh yeah, okay, cool, dude. So first of all, listen, the thing with like most guys that are like 20 years old, when they're given like money or opportunity, the biggest fear is like from their parents that they didn't work for it, right? So it's like your dad gave you cash for a pilot's license at 20, that's crazy. Most people didn't have that. My mom gave me like a bus pass when I was 20 to like go like get a job at like I think it was like yeah, no, to be legit, I was working at a Chinese restaurant, I had a bus pass, that's what she gave me, that's what she was able to give me. So like the challenge you're having is kind of like, you have these opportunities in life and you think you're supposed to enjoy them more, but you're such a young guy that you didn't like work hard for those opportunities yourself, you know? Like at the same time, I have a buddy of mine, his name is, his guy is, he works for Google. He's designed a Tiffany & Co. website. He's also in the Israeli army. This kid is 21 years old and he's a multi-millionaire. And he comes out with me on these programs sometimes. Came out to like 5 hot seats that I did. And this kid, he brings out girls with him. And he had a girlfriend. He brought her to Rome, to Helsinki, to Paris, like just balling, 5-star restaurants, Michelin-star restaurants. And I go, you know you've ruined her for the rest of her life, right? She can't date anybody else. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, like what other guy is gonna do that for her? Like some guy like who's like maybe the same age, plays video games and scratches his balls all day. Like what's it gonna do for her? So the challenge with being young and having lots of opportunities is you don't really know how to appreciate them because you haven't gone through the pain of building it, right? Now for myself, I'm literally double your age. I'm literally 40, okay? And there's some guys that are probably, actually all pretty young in the audience here. But if you're 40 years old like me, I've been through the experience of having business, losing business during COVID. I mean, we run a seminar company. Take this in mind, we run a seminar company. How do you think that was during COVID? Right. We run a seminar company, right? So a lot of this stuff had to move to online. And so 2020 was a rough year. And then 2021, like I said, in the last 3 months, maybe I did $250,000, right? So I went through the opportunity of like, or the situation of losing a lot of that business, coming back and making it again. So I can appreciate what it takes to build a business. Don't be hard on yourself for saying, or like even critical of yourself for saying, I should appreciate this stuff more. I should enjoy it more. I was in Hawaii and there was surfing and all this stuff. There's beautiful waves and I didn't really care very much to be there, but I wish I would. Don't do that to yourself. Also, no homo, you're a good looking guy. Okay, you're a good looking guy. You're a handsome dude, okay? You won the genetic lottery. Yeah. You might not believe it in yourself. You might not feel it in your body. The way you, as Sid said, the way you present yourself doesn't look like you believe that. The way you project your energy doesn't believe that you feel entitled. I don't see that you feel entitled at all. I feel that maybe you also a part of your success you feel is imposter syndrome. I'm reading that off of you in the room. You feel like maybe a part of your, I think it was TikTok or YouTube you did, was based on, hey, people like me, maybe girls think I'm cute and that happens, but I really don't deserve it. And should I even feel great about that? Maybe a little bit of that.
I don't want it either.
Huh?
Yeah, there's like a part of me that doesn't want it. Cause it's like,
Yeah.
I don't deserve that.
Yeah, I don't deserve this attention from the girls because they give it to me and people on YouTube and like, I don't deserve it. And like, that's what we call imposter syndrome, right? Where you get something you feel you didn't deserve it or you didn't earn it. So my point to you is the helicopter stuff, the going to Hawaii, the imposter syndrome from being able to do the online stuff. And the only thing you have to look out for is the guilt. That'd be number one. And the second thing would be, I would tell you in terms of your like romantic life, the enemy of the enemy of the great is the good enough for your romantic life. I almost call this like good looking guy syndrome. Typically when I have a student who's good looking, he can go out, he can talk to people, he can get some like good conversation starting, and it goes pretty well for him, but he has no motivation, zero motivation to push through. Like this guy over here, how tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
5'9", how tall are you?
5'10".
5'10", okay. Is anybody shorter than 5'9"? Anybody here shorter than 5'9"? How tall are you?
5'7".
5'7", okay. So this guy over here next to you, he could possibly, potentially do better at dating and meeting people on the street than you could, because he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. He's gonna be like, oh, these fucking people think I'm 5'7", and oh, I'm gonna show them, right? Like the only reason like Owen got so good is because he was pasty, bald, ginger, high-pitched voice, and he's like, I'm gonna do something about it or I'm gonna die. It was like effort or die. It was not like, I'm motivated. It was like, do it or die. So for somebody like yourself, the only disadvantage I can see for you is that you might not have that strong motivation or desire, that chip on your shoulder to really go out and progress in some areas. You can kind of be satisfied with getting through in life. Yeah. You know, especially because your dad gave you 40K, you kind of like, well, I want to do it, it didn't work out, and my job's not going the way I want it to go, but I can kind of just hang out for 5 more years maybe, and it'll work out. Maybe my dad will come back, put some more cash in my hand, you know, stuff like that. So you just gotta be careful of that. Like, I would say, always going within yourself and finding motivation. Always, you know, attending a course like this is great to find your purpose as well as a young guy. I would say figuring out what you want, what's important to you. I think you kind of know what some of your strengths are. Maybe you're unclear about it, but I believe your strength is gonna be artistic. I believe you present yourself like an artistic way. I believe you're a little bit quirky, the way you speak, the way your brain is kind of connected, the way you put thoughts together. I can see your quirkiness, and it's just gonna be figuring out how is your best way to execute that. But at the same time, going out and feeling deserving of things that are happening in your life. Because I'll tell you, man, even if you're successful, I'll tell this to everybody in the room, it's not just to him, even if you're successful, there's things that happen in your life you don't feel great about. Dude, I was telling somebody in the hallway, I think the guy's gone now, I've eaten at all the fucking best restaurants in the world. Guys, you think Owen's eating the best restaurants? I've eaten at the best restaurants internationally in the world, okay? I've been to 7 of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants, including the Hell's Kitchen in Vegas and Gordon Ramsay Steak. I went to Petrus, his #2 restaurant in the world in London.
At the Gordon Ramsay Petrus restaurant. Petrus was a friend of mine, always been here. The staff's incredible. Everybody's finishing up here. Absolutely incredible, absolutely amazing. Best service I ever had in my life. Food was incredible. Every single part of it, every single detail on the plate was superb. I've eaten out every single day of my life for the past 4 years. It's honestly the best meal I've ever had in my life. All 7 courses of it. 7? Yeah. And the wine is incredible as well. I know that Petrus is from a bottle of wine. It's 30,000 pounds. Crazy. Incredible.
I've went to meditated in the towers in Giza. I've crossed I've had coffee with my mother on top of the Eiffel Tower. I've, ridden camels across the Sahara Desert. I've hiked the falls in Iceland. Like, there's not much more I can do in my life at this point, right? But I remember being there at certain times and being completely miserable. I remember having it all and being completely miserable at certain times. And I was miserable because I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I should. You know, I'm there on this great opportunity. Why am I not enjoying it? I thought I should be here. Why am I not enjoying it? Part of it's because I didn't have the people to share it with, but a lot of times I felt like I just didn't maybe deserve it in the back of my mind. One of the things I love about the crew that we do, when I say the crew, I mean the team we work with, like even the guys in the back you see in the camera and everybody else here. One of the things I love that we do is we usually have a house in the hills, the Hollywood Hills. We've had 3 mansions in the Hollywood Hills. And what's so cool about it is you have these guys that are 20 years old, 21 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old, and they get a chance to move into the fucking Hollywood Hills, man. You know what I mean? Like, you understand how life-changing it is for some people? Especially for guys that came from let's say inner city slums, and they get a chance to move into Hollywood Hills for a bit through the different houses we had. That's so amazing. But what it does is it gets them acclimated to that possibility in their life so they can experience it. So one day, if they eventually do get their own house in the hills or their own mansion, they feel like they deserve it. They feel like they could appreciate it because they know how hard it is to get it, right? And of course, some of the guys are just like sleeping on the floors in like big bunk bed rooms and shit like that. But once you've done it, you could appreciate it, There's some guys that are living at the house right now in the hills, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to live at the house in the hills forever, Because then you live at a house in the hills and you realize, oh shit, there's like termites. Or oh shit, the water flow for the hot water is really slow coming from like down to the bottom of the hill to up the hill. And I'm saying all this not to brag and be like, oh, live in the hills. I'm saying this so you understand, like, let's say you've done it. Let's say you've done that crazy thing, the high level thing, that glamorous lifestyle, high status thing. That eventually, when you're like, you get something you appreciate even more. That can go from where you live. That can go through a job. That can be anything. I'm pretty sure there'll be times in my life coming up soon where I eventually get some, I don't make as much money, but I'm happy with where I am because I've chosen to live that way. You can choose that for yourself. And there'll be times where like you guys have the hottest person that you date, and then you realize it's absolutely miserable. And then you find your comfort, perfect level of like, it's very attractive, but not too attractive. It's out of your league that you have to deal with a whole bunch of crap. And they're like feminine and considerate and compassionate, and they're intelligent and they represent you well, and they're articulate and smart and they're sexual. And you're like, this is great. And I appreciate this a lot more than the top level stuff. So the point of what I'm saying to you, kind of like wrap it up and we'll get into somebody else, but the point of what I'm saying to you conclude is like, don't feel guilty that you don't appreciate these things, because probably your dad had to work for them. He just wants to share them with you, but you're not going to appreciate them at the same level. Go through life, enjoy them for what they are right now, and eventually you'll kind of like build up into being your own guy, and you'll find what's important to you. Cool. All right. Cool.